Thank you so much for joining us. This is another episode of the Nell Show. My name is Sage Nell in Manalade, and today we're having an amazing session with the master teacher herself. She's right here, so we'll just get right into reading her profile and get right into the conversation. So excited to have you. Thank you. Welcome. Yes. Thank you so much for choosing to be here today. I'm really grateful. And your hair looks good. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you, Kat. Yes, your hair looks good. Thank you. I mean, after it's been a lot of back and forth, but I'm glad that we're finally here today. Thank you so much. So I want to read your profile, a bit of your profile, and then we'll just get right into the conversation. Grace Amoka is a teacher development expert who empowers ambitious educators to reach their full potential. With over 400 clients trained and coached across 7 countries, Grace helps teachers stand out and attract opportunities for greater income, impact, and influence. She's a model teacher and she helps clients find their unique voice and embrace the reality that they can thrive as teachers while increasing their income streams. She also exemplifies that every teacher can be so much more relevant than just within the classroom, as she currently consults for the education unit of the World Bank and is the president of Gemstone's Toastmaster Club, an award-winning public speaker, author of the books Dear Teacher, Beautiful Scars, Colors of Hope. A passion for education led her to leave her engineering profession. She always seeks to show the limitless possibilities that exist once we open our hearts to them. Thank you so much, Grace. Are you hearing any echo? I just want to be sure that it's not from my setup. It seems as though...
Not echo. I was hearing some little sounds, but they're not coming.
Okay.
Opening.
They're not okay. That's totally fine. All right, so let's get started. Grace, you've been here before, so we'll just do a recap of the conversation that we had before we now move further to where we are right now. And for those who do not know, I will start out with asking you a question that I've asked before, which is, what was growing up like for you compared to where you are right now? Growing up, your background, did you envision yourself in this particular space where you are? But just take us back to what family life and growing up like was for you.
Okay, thank you so much for having me again, Sage Nell. It's great to be on your show. Growing up was, when I think back at it now, being an adult, I would say I had the most fantastic childhood experience. My home was very, and still is very loving, very warm. I'm just from the parents' conference that Celebration Church organized, and just hearing the kind of things that the speakers were saying about parenting and all of that. I feel like my parents really did a fantastic job. I knew that home was safe space. I knew that I was supported. So even when I had all those my dramatic, oh, today I want to sell shoes, tomorrow I want to do engineering, the day after I don't think engineering is for me and all of that, my parents would throw their weight behind me. Recently, my mom was just saying how we rally around anybody that is doing any fantastic project. So if it's my brother that says, oh, this is what I want to do, because we talk about our goals and our plans, this is what I want to do. Everybody throws their weight. It becomes a family project. If it's my sister, same thing. Now we have a sister-in-law that is so much like she's already part of the family. If she's the one to, so we do the same thing. So that was what growing up was like for me. I never thought that I didn't belong. Home was safe. Even when the world was giving basketballs, I grew up with so much learning contentment. I have a ridiculous level of contentment right now. Like, when I make certain decisions, even with my career, my friends are just like, how are you so audacious? And I never thought of it as being audacious, but just thinking about it now, I'm like, okay, this is not very normal. And I would say it's thanks to the kind of background that I had.
Wow. Okay, so can you take us through to, so well, a lot of people listening may have grown up in Lagos or other parts, or maybe Abuja. Could you tell us where you grew up? Because of course,
Oh,
where you grew up is unique, so that, and
I
how
grew
that
up in
will also affected in a positive way, growing up and just the choices you made in life.
I was having a conversation, I think it was 2 nights ago with a friend of mine, and I was telling her that I don't think that God gave me the opportunity to spoil in that sense. I was very, I was safe, really. So I grew up in the beautiful, beautiful city of Kaduna in Nigeria, northern Nigeria, and life there is different from Lagos. My friends that come from Lagos to Kaduna, they're just like, it seems you guys are moving in slow motion. So you don't have that rush. You don't have that. We're not running anywhere. We're not pursuing anybody. Nobody's pursuing us. You get. One of my friends, Temitope, is here as well. We both grew up in Kaduna. She moved to Lagos at some point. And as much as there's this, I feel like in Lagos there's this sense of urgency, even when it's not urgent. Like
Yes,
some things are urgent. I like that can do spirit. There's the drive, there's the competition. You want to be at your best game, there's excellence and all of that. But sometimes I'm like, fam, we don't need to be running. You don't need to be running every time. So in a lot of ways, we grew up more conservative. We grew up more community oriented. I can't go days without seeing some of my friends, and it's just because we had, I would call it luxury, that people in Lagos, you go 3 months, you haven't seen a relative of yours or a friend of yours. That does not
that's
happen in my. I think in Kaduna, my friend comes to visit me. I walk my friend walks me back home. We walk back. Yeah, like, so it feels like we have 48 hours while you guys have just 24 hours. So growing up for me was that it was just really beautiful. Yeah, no regret.
okay. So, did you also school your primary school in Kaduna and also secondary school? And what was it like for you in that environment, especially now that you are a teacher? Could you tell me some of the things that you started to think back that probably significantly imprinted on you, especially in your school days, primary and then secondary school?
I would. I went to Command Children Primary School. And I would say in a lot of ways, just thinking back, my primary school shaped me. Primary school was a great experience. The standards were very high. When I think of spoken English especially, it was primary school. And my family as well. In my family, up till today, if I don't know the meaning of a word, like till today, rather than Google it or something, I'll drop it on the family group. Oh, what does this mean? 2 days ago, I still asked my dad, oh, what's the meaning of this word? It sounds very ridiculous, but we're always checking on each other and making sure we speak well, we represent each other well, and all of that. But primary school was Command Children's School. And then I moved from there to Federal Government Girls College, Wari, Abuja. It was a boarding school. I didn't finish from there. I spent 1 year, 4 months. Yes, I left in my JSS2, and I'm grateful to God that I left, because my story would definitely have been different if I had finished from that school. And when I say different, I mean like negatively different. So I'm really grateful to God that my parents were sensitive enough and they listened to us as well. So they took us out of, my brother was in Kwali. His school was co girls and boys. Mine was just girls.
Yeah.
And so after JS1 and JS2 first term, they took us out of the schools, because you know how boarding schools are. Even today, I wouldn't advise, being a teacher myself, I wouldn't advise any parent to leave their, and when I say leave, I mean abandon your children in boarding school, except you're really, really sure of how the systems in those boarding schools operate. Of course, I wouldn't throw a blanket statement. I would say, so when a lot of parents meet me and say, oh, I want to change my child's school, what would you recommend? I'm just like, I ain't going to do that. I'm not going to just tell you, oh, this is the school to go to. No, we're going to sit together. We're going to talk about your family values. We're going to talk about what do you hope to achieve from your child's schooling experience. and then we visit schools. I always say, visit the school that you want to leave your child in, have conversations. So I left Federal Government Girls College, came back to Kaduna, back to a day school. I was home, and my parents had a personal, I don't know if to call it a principal. Every child went to the same school, so they had that thing. We went to the same primary schools, then secondary school we went to St. Michael's Anglican College. It was in Kaduna. It was a day school, so we're home every day, and then proceeded to Covenant University. We all went to Covenant University. That was also a fantastic experience. At the time, it didn't seem so fantastic because for reasons that you know, but then I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. Some of my really great friends that I still have till today were from Covenant University. Some of the values that I uphold so much were from Covenant University as well. Great network, great community, great can-do spirits. Like you just grow up feeling like you're so royal, like you're a queen, you're king, and somehow those things just stay with you, and you actually believe that you can change the world, which for me is super major. Then when I now decided that I wanted to do this education thing, because I have a background in computer engineering, I then moved to University of Ilorin, which was also a fantastic experience, I would say, because I felt like I was finally home with what I wanted to do, the whole education thing. It was beautiful. So that's what my background looks like here.
Like, so could you tell us, because you studied computer engineering, like you shared, in school in Covenant University, and you are now fully in education. When you were choosing your course at the time from secondary school to the university, did you already have an inkling that you were going to do something in the educational line? Or for you, it was just, I would like you to share with us what's that interest or how you landed yourself into computer engineering before we move further to education.
The story is same. Anyway, I've told the story, it's same. Finished secondary school, my parents had that thing where you decide what you want to do. And honestly, at that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't exactly know my strength. It was, so from JSS 3, you did well in your junior WAEC, and then they're like, oh, the ones that did well, they go to science class, and the ones that didn't do well, or too well, they go to art class, which is the most ridiculous thing that I can think of right now. So I was in the sciences. So automatically it meant that once I finished from secondary school, I was going into like a STEM field. And for me, medicine was never an option. I was never one of those people. I wanted to be a medical doctor, even though my mom, is from a medical background. She never even prompted us to say, oh, one of us should do. No, it was like, do you? So it became, because in Nigeria, if you're not a medical doctor, you're not an engineer, you're not a lawyer, what are you? Like, who are you? My dad and I literally going through the JAM brochure, which for people that don't know, the JAM brochure is the Joint Admission Matriculation Board. It's like that exam you take to go into the university. And they have this brochure where it has the different courses, the different universities that offer those courses and all of that. So we went from literally one course to another. I looked through engineering. I knew I was I was okay with math. I didn't like chemistry, but my chemistry teacher, you had to love it. Like, I had really great teachers. I didn't like chemistry. Physics was okay. I was a good student. I was doing okay in school. So we looked at mechanical engineering. It sounded too hard for me. I'm just like, no. Chemical engineering sounded like it has plenty chemistry inside. I'm just like, it's not me and you. Which other one? Civil. I knew about civil engineering was construction. Like just basic knowledge. I'm just like, I don't know that I want to be constructing roads and all of that. I wanted something slicker, And then, we saw computer engineering. I'm just like, it sounds cool. So really, I don't have that story of all them Tiger Woods and all those people. I had a passion for pap, so I started my business with 20 naira pap, and then now I'm a global figure. My story was, it sounds sleek. It sounds, computer engineering. I'm just like, okay, what schools offer the course? And that was it. So I did good in university. I used to tell, I have a friend, SA, SA was that person that from day one in school, she knew she wanted to graduate in the first class. All those serious kind of people, like my sister as well. Like, I didn't have those ambitions. She gets. So I did okay, graduated with a 2-1 and worked a bit in the IT department of Nigerian Defense Academy. I had done some hardware parts of computer as well. So I wasn't doing bad, she gets. But yeah, I wasn't doing bad. But during my NYS 2012, 2013, I remember one of the things I really wanted to know, because I had grown up hearing a lot about purpose. I had gone to a school where it was such a thing. If you did not know your purpose, it was like, who are you? What are you doing? You know, 18-hour vision. Like, are you joking with your life now? So
Like,
for me,
how are you doing?
God, what did you have me do with my life? And then I remember that year was one of the years that the federal government in Nigeria decided that core members should teach. And while my colleagues were, when I say upset about it, I mean they were upset about it. I was having the time of my life. And for me, I would say where teaching found me in many ways. So I went to I was working in Green Springs School, which is a solid, fantastic school. Number one, I didn't know there were schools like that in life. Because I went to great schools in primary, secondary. But like I walked into this school. It had this massive lawn. They had tennis courts. They had swimming pools, basketball. I'm just like, are we in a school or on vacation? Do you understand? So the environment was beautiful. I worked very hard, to be honest. And I remember when I got there, I did interviews with HR. I'm just like, a school has HR departments. Like, are you joking? And then I had another interview with the principal of the secondary section. And when I was having a conversation with her, she's like, oh, so you're not going to teach, you're just going to be doing like admin work for us, 1 or 2 things and all of that. By the time I was leaving that school, girl, I had taught math, I had taught ICT, I had taught life science, and I was just having the time of my life, while my other colleagues they were upset. We want to work in banks, we want to work in Shell. Why would you make us teach and all of that? And I had an experience where my CDS, which is community development, was in another school, not so far from Green Springs. And in that school, I think their fees were about 1,500 naira. And there were kids that couldn't afford it. So that was my first experience with education inequity. At that time, though, my vocabulary I didn't know anything like that, you know, but I couldn't define what it was. But I know that experience at Green Springs sparked something else. Specifically, I had a conversation with Mr. Balogun. So if you've heard me talk about my story anytime, Mr. Balogun is a standard figure that comes up. He was one of the youngest teachers there. He taught geography, and at that time, Green Springs is one of those schools that do a lot of experimenting. They want to push the bounds. They want to find out what works best for the students at any time. So at that time, they were experimenting with 80 minutes periods, which is 1 hour, 20 minutes, when you would typically have like 35 minutes. So it was like experimenting, do our longer classes more effective or shorter classes? So for 80 minutes, Mr. Balogun would teach. And in those 80 minutes, the students were fantastically engaged. When I say engaged, I mean they were engaged from start to finish. They were excited about the classes. They were pumped. He had innovative ways of teaching. And I just saw something that, like, because one of the things I did when I started my career was sit in those classes to observe. And I always loved sitting in class. So we got close and we would have conversations. And in one of those conversations, I asked him, how did you get stuck teaching? And I could remember his face. He's like, stuck? Stuck is not the word. And he said right from when he was age 8, he knew this is what he wanted to do. And he starts telling his experience about how he had imaginary students, and he even had like score sheets for these students, and he would record their scores, and it felt like an out-of-body experience. For the first time, me back to when I was a child, growing up in Crescent Road, Polytechnic quarters in Kaduna with my sister, especially. We had imaginary classrooms, and we had these curbs in front of the house, and those were where our imaginary students sat. Three of the notable students were Abachi, Ikemu, and Basange. Don't ask me where we got the name. Don't ask my sister because she's in heaven right now. Maybe she has better answers than me. You know, we would see those imaginary students. Of course, at that time, teachers were notable for using the cane on students. So, of course, we'll flog our students.
Yes.
Felt like someone gave me the validation that I needed to consider it. Because when you think of what you want to do, a lot of times it's not like, oh, it jumps on you and then you're super excited about it at the get-go. No. So I started considering it. I'm like, oh my goodness. So this is what I actually love to do. At the time, I was working with children a lot. Send me to any new church, I was in the children's department. My friends that had kids, I loved to spend time with the children, even with adults. I was the person that would say, oh, let's play games, from serious games, getting to know each other better, icebreaker games and things like that. Those were the kinds of things that I was always doing. So I was already working with children, and then having that conversation with Mr. Balogun was such a defining moment for me. But then I knew that I'm just like, but teachers don't have money. And me, I know that I don't want to become a Mark Zuckerberg or Musk or anything. But then I want to have money. Do you understand? I don't wanna be begging on the streets. I don't wanna look tattered and So there was that conflict, and that was. I'm just like, God, I know I really want to do this, but I don't want to not have money. She gets, and then I started business. Long story short, I went into quite a number of businesses, and finally in 2014, I decided to go for a master's in education technology. So I went to the University of Ilorin, not University of Ilorin, Kwara State here. Yeah, it's a longer story, but this is like the summary. Yeah.
Somebody made a comment about leaving the sea. I want to read it. It says, demystified. Interesting handle. We sometimes are living our childhood dreams and we don't even realize it. So if we circle back from what you shared with us, Grace, that this teaching thing has even always been with you when you and Eunice would be practicing with your imaginary students, but life just went on, and well, you are back to it, which is why we're having this conversation. So it is also, I'm pointing that out because I know that people have said this, but many people have not taken it as seriously. But this conversation is reminding us that a lot of times those things that we dreamt of in our childhood could be a big pointer to what we are supposed to be doing. Okay, so now that you've taking us through a journey of how you started. So how did you now delve into it after NYC? I'm assuming if you said Green Spring, that means you served in Lagos, for those who were following the story. So yes, because that means you served in Lagos. So how did you not delve into it after NYC? What were the next step? At what point did you decide that the little money or the money constraints in the teaching profession wasn't going to hinder you from going ahead? And then what school? You said you already did your master's. Was it after your master's you started to teach in Ilorin? If you could take us through that journey, or you went back to Kaduna, everything in between. But I'll let us know, because this is important for teachers, Grace. At what point you decided that you're not going to allow money or the lack of it or the abundance of it to affect your decision?
So truth is, it was at the point that I knew that there were other options. And let me say, it was at the point that I knew there were more possibilities. And by that, I mean, I started to ask questions. I started to ask, do teachers really need to be poor? Like, who made that decision? So one, I knew that in terms of remuneration, there were there were certain teachers that earned more than other teachers. Why? What did it take to be part of the higher earners? So let me take you through the journey after NYSC. So after NYSC, of course, if you went to the kind of school that I went to, the typical thing that happens is you finish your undergraduate. If you decide to do your NYSC, after that you go for your master's abroad. It was like standard practice, do you get? So of course I had applied to universities and had gotten admission to continue my IT journey in Huddersfield University. And there was even a scholarship. It wasn't full, but it was part scholarship. So I had that option. However, because I had started playing with the idea of business, because at that time my thought was, how about I find other ways to fund my teaching passion? I'm just like, okay, let's see what the business world looks like. But it wasn't even as articulate, because the truth is sometimes we lie a lot so that our stories will sound sweet. And I'm just like, there's no point, because there's someone's story that sounds like yours. Before, I used to feel bad that I didn't have a grass to grace story. Do you get? I didn't have one dramatic. I was never a house help. I was never. But then working with, and shout out to Tolu Michaels, she's fantastic. Working with her for a while made me understand that your story that you think is not dramatic enough is another person's story. So let's stop painting things and quoting things and saying, when I was age 4, I knew my passion and vision. I held a mic and my mother was like, ooh la lashes, this is your destiny. Come, baby. No. So when I went back to Kaduna after my youth service, my mom, so my mom came to Lagos because, again, my parents are just fantastic. She came to Lagos to see where I had been staying and then to thank the family that accommodated me for the period of my national youth service. And then she said, so when children finish their NYSC, they go back home. So I went back to Kaduna and my body was itching me. The first week I didn't have anything to do. I'm like, no, I cannot just sit down here. What can I do? And we had I think we had just gotten a washing machine at that time in the house. And how many clothes are we washing? And then I don't know how that happened, but I'm just like, oh, let me start a laundry. It was a very, very, very random, most random thing. And I had my mom's Yugoslavian friend that likes a wolf. So I used to, because she had a laundry in her house as well. So she would launder her clothes. Then I would iron the clothes. And I used to charge her 25 naira per clothing item.
Wow.
And then I had this other friend, Rafiki, who started. So I'm just like, Rafiki, I do laundry. And then being a young bachelor that wanted time for other things, he would give me his clothes. And then he would be like, okay, I think you can package it with packaging bags and things like that. Before you know it, it started becoming something. And then I started hearing about business grants. At that time, there was UWIN. So that was the first year I heard about UWIN. I'm just like, oh, let me see what it's about. And it was about writing and pitching your idea. I didn't even know that I was great at things like that. And then I applied. And I got it. I'm just like, yes. And I got it and literally now really set up the business to be like a laundry and dry cleaning service business. So I didn't have the passion to be a washer of people's garments. Do you understand? No. That's just how the story went. So for some years, I was in that world of business. I started attending business events, workshops in Abuja especially. I got a part-funded scholarship to Lagos Business School. Just that world just opened up. And I would say for me in my journey in this teaching profession is something that has helped me to see that there are limitless possibilities, to see that you're divinely resourced and equipped for so much more than you give yourself credit for. So when I do business, I don't do business with that small mindset. Maybe because I was plunged into the world of a lot of possibilities. I met with women that were doing fantastic work in the field of business. So I bring in all of those experiences, all the knowledge and the network as well into what I currently do now. Yeah. Then yeah, so like I said, 2014, 2015, went in for my master's, and then after that started teaching. Then along the line heard about Teach for Nigeria. So for some of my Teach for Nigeria people that may be on this call, maybe for them it was a case of, I'm looking for what to do. I'm trying to find myself. Let me see what these people have for me. For me, I was already on that path. Anything that I had at that time, and people around me knew what I was about. They knew this was people would call me things like my child's godmother, the teaching, whatever. People knew I was very loud about what my heart was passionate about.
Yes.
And then so they would see things like applications and they would send to me. And for me, that's how it has always been. So I didn't have one big dream. So back to even this World Bank situation, I didn't have a grand dream to say, oh, one day I want to be at the World Bank, or one day I want to be in the United Nations. Yes. And this is my own reality. For some other persons, it may be that all my life I've charted this course. I knew that I saw myself on the global stage and what. That's not me. That's not me. It's simply, and there's a lesson in it, the fact that, do people know what you're about? You started a business, you are ashamed of selling yourself, you are ashamed because, oh, how will people feel if I'm cleaning houses? Madam, is he putting food on your table? Is that what God will have you do? See, as that we man diligent in his business, he will stand before kings. Diligent in his business. So as long as that business is legit, own it with your full chest. Let people know. Think about your WhatsApp status. How many contacts do you have? Do people there know that you're selling food? You are ashamed about it. Are you for real? So people knew what I was about. And the Teach for Nigeria thing came. I remember there were 3 different people that sent the link to me that, oh, I saw this and your name came up. And that's how things have happened. Same thing with the work. After Teach for Nigeria, I went on to work with African Leadership Academy and then the World Bank. It's the same thing. Oh, I saw this and your name came. I saw this and I think you totally. So for this World Bank thing, so there were 2 people that sent me the links. The first person was one of my friends, Sunday Daniel. He's like, I saw this link and I think you can do this. For me, that's a challenge. When my friends, and I always talk about community, I sing it. I think people are even tired of me. They think maybe I overhype it, but no. When a friend says, I saw this and I think you can totally do it, Nkechi, what that person is telling me is, I'm putting my money behind you. For me, it's huge. And there were many things that could have stopped me. Number one, I don't have a PhD. Do you understand? It was part of the requirement, PhD, like fancy things, If you go to the World Bank, it's such a knowledge institution. You have economists from all the Oxfords, the senior institutions. Me, teacher, Nigerian girl, But then having people that have faith in me, that believe. Then the second person was Obi. She sends the same link. At that time, I was already putting in my application. And Sunday would say, how far have you submitted your application? The worst thing, the way I keep myself accountable sometimes is by telling my friends. It used to be Eunice. If I know that I want to do something, I will tell Eunice. I cannot back down. Oh, Sunday just joined the call. You can imagine, I just mentioned his name and he just joined the call now. Yeah, so he's the one. Eunice, once I tell Eunice this is what I want to do, there's no backing out. No. There's no backing out. So it's the same thing I now do with my friends. Yesterday, I was telling my friend Dean about something I wanted to do. And then he asked me, where do you want to do it? So that he would put fire on me that I must do it. Do you understand? That's how I left the conversation, because I know that once I say this is what I want to do, they will not allow me rest. Yes. And for me, that's one of the blessings that I tap into every time. So yeah. The question was about, so just still that journey of, so got into Teach for Nigeria, and for me, after that, I knew that was what I wanted to do. Like, I knew that I wanted to be in the education space. I knew there were problems to be solved. I knew that the problems in the education sector requires dogged leaders, innovative people, creative people, and I saw myself as that person. Of course, there are days that I doubt myself, but many times I see myself as part of the solution of people that would change certain narratives. Why, I don't necessarily like status quo. Who says that teachers have to be the worst looking people? Who says that they have to be bottom rung of the ladder? Who says that they can't be billionaires? Who says that they can't be all that they want to be? So I think about it every time I'm in maybe like a class on investment, a class on goal setting, or any of these life things. There are no teachers there. Like, why? Who limited us? I will be part of the generation of people that say, as a teacher, there's absolutely nothing that you cannot do. If I have people, if I have friends in like oil and gas that are still thinking about starting their own business, and running like family businesses that grow to be large, why can't I do the same thing as a teacher? Why must I just be selling? If it's rappers you want to sell, that's fine. But why must I limit myself to what the world has put on me? So those are just some of the basic things that I think about. I want to have the kind of income, impact, and influence that I need to make the kind of difference I want to make in my world and in the world of other people. So for me, it's about spreading the goodness of God in the lives of people. I need money to do that, a lot of money, and nothing is going to limit me, not my profession as a teacher, because as I say all the time, teaching is just one of the ways that I show the goodness, the greatness, the excellence, the wisdom, and everything of God. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Grace. When I was preparing and thinking of this interview, I knew it was going to be a good one because I know that you've got just a lot in your belly to flow out. Thank you for all that you've shared in the past few minutes. We're going to come back to World Bank as we start to conclude. But I want to ask you, did you ever teach in Kaduna? Was there a time? So could you speak to us about that time? Then I'm going to lay out this. What kind of challenges did you experience in your teaching journey in Nigeria before we then now go to the World Bank story? So tell us about your experience teaching in Kaduna. And why I'm asking is because it seems as though the northern part of Nigeria education is quite different from the western part. And I would like you to please highlight some of those differences, what you have done about it, and what we can continue to do differently so that we are able to bridge that gap.
So the differences are many, and I think that it's not conspiracy theory or anything. I think they're very intentionally crafted differences in terms of the way that education is even perceived. In many ways, there are the West kind of have there's a premium that is placed on education in certain parts of the country that isn't placed in other parts of the country. And there's a cultural part of it. There are some things that I'm trying to just be careful about saying, but there's a cultural part of it in terms of I would just say the value that we place on education or on certain kinds of education. Yeah, I think that's a better, yeah. So the kinds of schools that I have taught in Kaduna, I've taught in both private schools and in public school. So more, the public school that I taught in was more in my experience with Teach for Nigeria. So I taught in a school where there were over 2,000 students. And in my class alone, first of all, I got into the class and I had 173 children.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my goodness. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with them? Like, that's like, there are some private schools that don't even have as many as 173 children. Do you understand?
So all together.
So it felt like an entire school.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I'm grateful to God about is how we can choose to make a difference with what we're giving. And that's what has formed my philosophy in education. the fact that there are dreams that we have. I have dreams of what the education system in Africa will look like. SAGENEL, I'm so sure about it. I have something called the Book of My Future, which I did under one of my coaches. And the pictures are so clear in my heart, in my mind's eyes. I know what the possibilities are. And like I share with some of my friends, I know that these possibilities, we may just scratch them in our own lifetime. We may not be able to achieve them at scale, but we will lay the foundations. And but with those possibilities in one hand, on the other hand, what do we then do with the realities that we're faced with? So I'm currently working with, is this my network?
No, I can hear you. I'm still here. I can hear you.
Okay. With the realities that we're currently faced with, because I currently work with teachers in different parts, so Senegal, Zimbabwe, Uganda, and it's the same stories: overcrowded classrooms, not so qualified teachers, same kinds of challenges. Infrastructure is a problem. How do we make the best of what we're given? And for me, the teacher has a big role to play in the learning outcomes of the students, because you're like the number one success factor. So how do we empower teachers enough to feel equipped to take on this kind of challenge? So that was the same idea that helped me with my work in the public school system in Kaduna. So what I did was I literally said to myself, you have an entire school. It's just that it's in one classroom. How do you make sure learning happens for these children? Because the truth is, they didn't ask to be born in the kinds of environments that they were born in. Like, the crime they committed was to be born. I didn't choose to be born into the Amoka family. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I don't think any child deserves that punishment because of my parents' level of education or economic capability. It then puts a peg on who I can become in life. I don't think it's fair. So I remember 2000 or 2001, 2020 or 2021, one of the things I shared on an event that they had for educators around the world was the science of teaching and learning in overcrowded classrooms. And sharing my experience that day showed me how things that are not ideal, we can still innovate and find ways of making it work. Do you understand? So I feel like in a lot of ways we need to, this is the reality that we're faced with. As much as we have pictures of what the ideal future would look like, how can we make the best of what we have? Yeah, so some of the differences, like I said, it's just different climes. So in Kaduna, things, like I said, are more paced than very aggressive. Parents have more time with their children because we're not as in a hurry as parents in other parts of the world. I don't want to call names, So it's just the peculiarities of the way things are structured. There are challenges we face with having there are cultural differences. Basically, there are major cultural differences that make the work a bit more tasking. But I would say determining the factors that you're faced with, because everybody has even in the what we call the developed world, they have their own. They have their own, and their own is plenty. So you just choose your battle and decide that you're equipped for those battles and you're going to fight. I would say that's how I would just put this, like, round this off. Challenges with the education sector, there's so many, like so many. There's low enrollment. I was listening to a statistic yesterday, and it was that 20 million Nigerian students are out. Like, there are 20 million Nigerian children out of school. And I'm like, what's going on? In 2018, there were 10.5. 2020, they were 13.5. Where are we getting 20 million from? So I don't know whether I don't know what's happening. So there are those that are out of school. Then even those in school, how much of learning is actually going on? You know, the children leave school, primary school, and they're not able to even construct like simple sentences, put together simple arithmetic, you know, things like that. Those are some of the challenges. There are challenges with teachers, and I say it all the time. It's not necessarily the teacher's fault. It's the way that teaching has been sold in our country or in our continent. Everybody feels like teaching is not just to teach. It's not just to say 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not just to, and there's no just about teaching. There is there is so much of science of learning. There's so much of understanding how to create unique experiences for every single child that you're working with. You're a scientist, you're gathering data, you're gathering information, you're designing learning. I don't, oh my goodness. I wish I could break down what teaching actually entails. Teachers spend the most time preparing lessons for their classrooms, especially teachers that are doing it right. It's a lot of effort that you're putting in. Even things that you don't know about, you need to learn a lot. You have to learn human behavior. You have to learn learning science. You have to start to learn how to, you know, edtech in education. What does it look like? How can I make these things come alive? I think it was Albert Einstein that says that if you can't explain something to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it well enough. So that process of learning to break things down to the point where your students understand, and when I say that your students understand, you're dealing with divergent personalities. So hey, don't even, anybody that says teaching is just teaching, that person does not know what they're doing. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know what they're doing, you know. And teachers in our environment are not equipped enough to handle these things. They don't have that professional development, like continuous professional development that equips them. You think about it. Doctors have exams that they take every now and then. They're always improving, you know, same with accountants and other professions. But for teaching, it's just like once you're hired, that's it. You're in there to figure things out for yourself, which isn't supposed to. Our world is changing, and the quality of the world that we have in Nigeria, for example, will be dependent on the kind of education that students get in the next, you know, couple of years. So teachers need to be the most empowered people we have in society, because they create that foundation for the people that will build the near future.
Riding on the wave of that, if you could just drop one solution, what do you think now that, like you've shared, the capacity and the quality of the teachers and the teachings that we have is what is going to build the kind of future that we are going to see? Nothing less, nothing more. What do you think can be done right now? Or maybe something is being done, but we are not aware on this live. Or what do you think can be done right now to change that now? Even if it's just one thing, so that somebody watching this live can at least catch that idea and maybe start to work on it in their own corner.
So I can say one thing. I would say, because there are different people at different levels, I would say everybody has a part to play. It's like an entire framework of what needs to be done, who needs to do what. Of course, there's the part of government where there's funding, like serious funding that needs to go into the continuous development of teachers. But there's also the role that each and every one of us can play. As a person, even outside the education sector, try to even understand what goes on in the world of these people called teachers, the people that shape the future generation. And what you can do is not to downplay their work. What you can do is treat them as the professionals that they are. When you go to a hospital, the regard and honor you have For the doctor sitting there, you treat them like they know their jobs. Do the same thing for teachers, because they're professionals as well. That is what you can do. When teachers know that they have that agency to like to do their work, it gives there's a level of excellence that comes with someone having confidence in you. I don't know how to say it, but someone saying, I trust you. Like, I trust you. I know that you can handle this. It's another vibe. Like, it's another level of vibe. So parents and everybody, you need to start to trust these people that you have entrusted with the role of raising your children, and understand that you're part of this ecosystem. The parents conference we had today, there was a lot that was said about the home front. You bring children from the homes and you send them to schools, and you think the school has, like, the school should fix. No, you have a role to play as well. So I feel like we need to start to have more conversations around how we can all work together in this beautiful job of nurturing the treasures that God has put in these children. For teachers, I know it seems like I always come for you guys, but then I like you to think of yourself as sent on an assignment. And as someone on an assignment, you don't let other people dictate to you how, when, where. You need to take hold of that assignment, because teaching is not like any other job. And I don't mean to downplay what other people are doing. I totally respect what you're doing, but this is about life. There's nobody that doesn't remember one teacher, for good or for bad. You would hear people say it all the time. You know, I remember my English teacher. She told me I could, and I believe that I could. I remember my math teacher. He helped me, and all of that. So we have some
teacher. So yes,
we have such critical roles to play, and like I like to say, take control of your own narrative. Take control of your narrative. Take control of your personal and professional development. Because when you invest in yourself, you're investing in you. You're not investing in your teaching career. No, you're investing in you, because it's from you that every other value that will flow to the children that you're working with today, to the parents that you work with, the schools. So become that person that carries so much value, that you're so indispensable to the world around you. So for members of community, I would say help teachers as much as you can. And one major way that you can help them is to regard the work that they do. See what happened during COVID now. Parents spending just a few little days, a few small days with their own children that they bought. They were crying and screaming, let the schools open. I said, no. We will all stay short. Sit with your children and know. So imagine a teacher having to deal with 20, 30, 40, in some cases, 100 of those children, you know, and they're still giving the best that they can. So for every teacher out there, you're doing fantastic. Make sure that your tank is always full and overflowing, so that what overflows to the children that you have this unique opportunity to work with, you're remembered for good. Because it's not a question of whether these children will remember you or not. It's what will they remember you for. And think about it. Many times you have just 1 year to spend with a particular set of children. And one of the things that I always pray to God is every single child that passes through me, they experience a touch of heaven. I mean it. Like, they experience a touch of heaven that never leaves them till they're adults. And they move on to be the kinds of adults that change the world, literally. One thing I picked from the parents' conference today is, if a Mark Zuckerberg was in your home, would he, or if a potential Mark Zuckerberg was in your home, or let's even say a potential Billy Graham was in your home, would Facebook have emerged? Would the teaching ministry of Billy Graham as we know it, would it have emerged? Would you have had that ability as a parent to nurture that seed? So even identify that there is a seed there and give it room to come to life. It's the same thing for every teacher. In your classroom, you have stars already that need to just be nurtured to full bloom. Will you let them? Will you have that patience to make them thrive, to let them be the best version of what God has called them to be? And if you're in an environment where you're not thriving as you should, you've done everything possible, you've maybe spoken with management and all of that, I would rather you leave that environment and move to an environment where you think you would thrive better and help the kids within your space to also thrive. Yeah, so
Okay.
I think those are a few things that we can do. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Grace. Let's get to the Washington, D.C. You already started out the story of how the application was sent to you, and you stated something very important that people may be experiencing when they get applications and they do not have qualifications that are stated there. You have overcome that because obviously you are now in that position. Could you share with us how you were able to mentally overcome that and what you were able to do within your own power to still move forward with your application, and how you got it, or how you think you got it? You were able to be selected and be a part of. And tell us more of what you do currently at the World Bank.
Wow, that's many questions in one, but I'll try to be very, very simple. As I said, the people around me, they see potential. Sometimes even when I forget that I'm highly resourced and I'm just a moving gem, they remind me. So like I said, my friend sent this application to me and said, I see you here. And I believed, even though like I said, some of the requirements were not necessarily but one of the things that I've decided to do is to not disqualify myself before other people have the chance to disqualify me. And that's something I try to live by every single time. There's hardly anything the reason these qualifications are put up many times is to sieve out so sometimes one of the reasons many requirements are put out is to sieve out, people.
Yes.
Why choose to sieve out yourself? If they're asking for 5 years experience and you have 4.5, or you even have 3. So one of the things I always tell myself is what I don't have in a PhD yet, I have in the years of experience that I've spent on the field. Do you get? So while you as a doctor, a PhD graduate, you were pouring through academic papers and all of that, I've been in the field. I know the things you're writing about. I have first-hand data. So you need to be able to see the value that you're bringing into. The reason they're asking for certain requirements is not about the requirements in themselves. It's because they think that someone with a 10-year experience should be able to accomplish certain things on the job. So it's still about the value you're bringing on that job. So for every requirement you see, ask yourself, how do I fit into this? I may not have 15 years experience yet, but because I have worked in very peculiar climes, I have experienced 20 years in my short 9 years. I have worked in public schools, I have worked in private schools, I have worked with teachers across 7 countries with quite different experiences, I have worked with researchers, I have worked, so sit down, and I mean it. If you're on this call, sit down and list the values that you bring from small to great. I remember one of the interviews that I had before I got this. What did the lady talk about? I think it was the final stage of the interview. She was like, oh, your Ankara blazers, you always look so great with your African everything. I'm like, okay. Then also talked about the part of my sign language experience I should share about it, which are not. So I say it all the time. Those little things that you think are little, those experiences that you have, that no other person has, that's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you valuable in any place. Sometimes it's not the mighty things. So till tomorrow, if you see me going to work, I'm Ankara is not a, it's not one thing that makes you unique. It's a combination of different beautiful things. Don't be afraid to let them shine through. Every single thing about you is unique. Let it show. If you smile a lot, don't go for an interview and be squeezing your face because it's serious business. No. Recently, I had a meeting with one of my managers, and I was asking him the same kind of questions that I would ask my friends. Oh, so why are you here? What are your goals? What's your dream? Yes. Don't think yourself less than you actually are. I'm as important as the president of the World Bank. Do you understand? That's how I see myself. That's how I walk. That's how I talk. Some days I cannot lie you. When I got here at first, I'm just like, what? Hey God. I've never met a group of more intelligent people. Brilliant. When they talk, you're just like, wow, wow, wow. Like they talk about world this, world that. I'm just like, what are you people saying, you know? But then you need to also, I started to hear beyond what they were saying. Do you understand? I started to see the humanity in them, that they have fears too. They have things they are uncertain about too. They have, so sometimes I'm doing some work and I'm just like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? Everybody experiences it. Every single person. You need to just push through those limiting beliefs and those barriers that make you feel like, no. So I will do my best work and put it out there. If I truly agree that I have a growth mindset, which I claim to have, it means there will always be room for improvement. So I'm looking forward to getting improvement. I had a presentation yesterday that I was so nervous about. I'm just like, hey God, how is this thing going to go? Are they going to, you know how you go for project defense and everybody's giving you basketballs from all around? I don't see it as basketballs anymore. I see it as, okay, Grace, because everybody has different perspectives, they're bringing in their unique perspectives to the work, which is fine. It makes the work better. And in many ways, after that meeting yesterday, I was talking with one of my colleagues. I'm just like, wow, it feels like when we started doing this project, it was like we turned on the tap and there was dirty water coming out. You leave the tap on long enough and the clean water comes out. That's the way I think about my work. I'm just like, okay, the first draft that I put out is not going to be what will change the world, but I'll keep working on it and refining the process till I get that lucid water, till I get that thing that will change the world. But if I never put out a version 1, there's nothing to work on. There's nothing to refine. Yeah. So I currently work with a fantastic team. You know, I work in the education unit of the bank, and the bank is such a great knowledge institution. They you know, work with governments on policies. They do a lot of funding for projects, from WASH projects to education projects. And when I say education, I mean like from edtech to infrastructure to teachers to just anything. So if you're a teacher here, the world is waiting for you. And I don't say it with, there's hardly an institution or an organization that doesn't have an education part of it. And you need to make sure that your voice is relevant enough to speak on these tables. I don't know why there will be meetings about policy, about education, that teachers shouldn't be there. But the reason teachers are not there is because we have disqualified ourselves before other people have the chance to disqualify us. And I'm saying no more. We're saying no more. If there's anyone that understands what should change in our educational systems, it's you as a teacher. Because you're there firsthand. You're there in the battlefield. You know what it feels like. So when they're saying this policy and this policy and this one, you know, it sounds nice on paper. Oh. You know, if you've written a business plan before and you've done business, you know the difference. You will write that business plan. It will be like, what? No, this, I'm gonna kill it, you know. But then you get into like the real business environment and you're just like, wow, I never thought about this. I never considered this. It's the same thing. So as a teacher, you have like close-up view to what actually happens, what changes in terms of like teaching and learning and all of that. You have a lot of value to contribute to the world, and the world is waiting for you. So take a chance on yourself. Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to clarify. So, are you consulting, or what particularly do you do for those who may want to know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I'm consulting. I'm consulting for the bank. Yeah. So which is basically, yeah, consulting. It sounds very fancy, but it's saying that. And so I think one of the mistakes we make is to think that you need to have it figured out before you take the next step. In my work consulting, I still need to read. I still need to study the trends. I still need to, do a lot of discovery. So learning never stops. And for you as a teacher, learning cannot stop because things are changing. What was obtainable in even 2020 just behind us is not obtainable now. So don't wait till you feel qualified, because you will never feel qualified. What you do is you keep refining your process, refining yourself, getting better. So it's like the onion bulb. You keep peeling and peeling and peeling till you always have value to offer, basically. So get into that job. If you have questions, you would ask questions. You will ask for help. You will learn and you will grow. But what you will not do is stay where you are and feel like you don't qualify, because you actually do.
So this is, well, I want to say it's unrelated, but still related. How did you feel when you got your final, the fact that you had the letter, the email that you had been selected and you had gotten this role? How did you feel that day? If you could take us through.
So it was a mix of many things. So first, I honestly didn't even think it was as serious as this.
Wow.
To be very honest, yes. And it's kind of same thing that happened when I signed up for the Teach Nigeria Fellowship. It was that I because it was teaching side, I'm just like, sign me up. So I hadn't really like studied about what it was really about, like the fine details and all of this. So for this one as well, I'm just like, sounds like a nice opportunity. And then I put in one. I didn't necessarily think that I was going to be working in DC. I didn't think that. I'm just like, oh, sounds nice. Sounds like, so the World Bank is like one of the greatest knowledge institutions. They're one of the greatest funding. They're the greatest, really biggest funding institutions when it comes to like development challenges and all of that. I'm like, oh, nice. And I get to work in the education unit and contribute my own quota to solving the world's problems. For me, that was it. So when I got it and said, oh, congratulations, what, I'm just like, okay. I was excited, very excited, very excited. But for me, it's after that excitement is also thinking, okay, what next? Do I need to do? How much do I need to sharpen my skills to make sure that and all of that. So yeah, looking forward to bigger things. And when I say bigger things, I don't necessarily mean bigger in terms of a bigger institution. No, there's work to be done. There's work to be done. There's work to be done. I look forward to big things that I would do in the education sector in Africa, especially. So I look forward to coming back home and getting my hands dirty, doing the work, pushing the limits, working with teachers, especially. I don't believe in being superstar or being the champion, so I'm that teacher that people look up to. That no. We're all supposed to be rolling together, exploring possibilities together and just pushing the frontier. So that's what I look forward to doing, really working. I want to, so this season, this year, next year especially, I want to expand the work that I'm doing with teachers, work with a lot more teachers. We're going to shift. We're going to shake things. Yeah, we're really going to shake things. Yeah.
But someone here who is a teacher or aspiring teacher, do you have like a hub where you work with teachers, like a community where they can join in, they're listening, so that they can know how?
See, fam, if you're a teacher and you're not, I send my newsletter community, they get the best of me. Like, I give them random gist about men in my life, sweet gist that's the world. All this one I get on Instagram is still very, but I find
Yeah. I have to join for the gist.
I know. It's such a beautiful community, and you can start by getting. So there's a free material I have. It's a packed resource. It's called The Profitable Teacher. The story that I like to remember is from the Bible about a man that was traveling, and then he gave his servants talents. He gave one 10, give the other 5, and then give the other one 1. There's another variation of a story where he gave one 5, gave one 3, gave one 1. And that one that had 1, he went to bury it. The others traded with theirs, but he felt his own was just 1. It's too small. And that's the way a lot of teachers think. It's like, I'm just a teacher. Oh, poor me. Underappreciated, or unloved, unwanted, uncared for. My voice is not relevant. That one talent, and then we go and bury it. We refuse to be profitable the way God wants us to be profitable. So the book is helping you to push, to say there is gold here. And while it may be in a raw form, if I'm not able and willing to bring it out, to refine it, I will never really experience the wealth that God has put inside of me. And then it gives you like a 5-pillared framework on how to bring out that gold and become the profitable teacher that increases your impact, your income, and your influence. So that's definitely where to start. You start there, you get into our awesome community of profitable teachers, and then I have a July. I have group coaching programs, so I have one starting in July. It's a special edition, and yeah, very special edition. I look forward to the teachers that I will get to work with. So it starts in July and it runs through the month of July. Yeah, and I have a couple of other collaborations with other fantastic teachers as well. So a lot is going to be. I'm back on this space, so there's going to be a lot we're going to be doing, and I look forward to it. Yeah.
So for those who are watching, especially those who are watching on YouTube, you can get it. I want to believe they can get it in the link in your bio. Yes,
link in my
that
bio.
Grace_Amoka, AMOKA_. That's Grace_Amoka. So just click the link in her bio, wherever it is you're watching from, and you're going to get the details that she's talking about. All right, so we're wrapping up now. So sad, but hey, I think 2 more questions, then your rapid fire question, and we close out. The concluding question I want to ask: have you got a chance to ask the people after you, of course, because you are there now, you're in Washington now, and you're doing the work? Have you had a chance to ask them why they selected you, or is there some sort of feedback for that? I would have loved to share what they said to you. Have you gotten a chance to ask them, well, okay, why did you choose me, or why do this? And if yes, what was the response?
That's quite an interesting question. I honestly never thought about it, but now that you mention it, I will definitely ask. And I will give you the feedback. Yes, it will be interesting to know.
Yeah. Yes, it will be very. That's why I asked. But anyways, I can get the feedback from you privately, and especially with the whole PhD thing. So I wanted that to you to share that, of course, wherever it is, so that people can now be encouraged based on all that you have shared with us, the gaps people need, what they're looking for, and so on and so forth. We can consolidate.
Let me just say that wherever you feel like. When you hear that voice telling you you don't qualify, don't accept it yet. And I'm not saying it in the way of, oh, I reject it, I qualify. No, it's not mindless affirmations.
Yes.
You can make it a logical process. Sit with it. Why don't I qualify? Write it down. Or why do I think I don't qualify? I don't have a PhD. What does a PhD actually give me? Apart from the status of doctor, what is inside this component of a PhD? Write it down. Is the fact that, okay, having a PhD is expected that you have certain kinds of knowledge and all of that. Is there another way that I have this thing that a PhD could have given me? That knowledge. I have experiential knowledge. Do you understand? So you need to be able to silence the voice with reason.
Okay.
Silence those those negative, those impostor, silence them with reason. Ask yourself questions. Why? Is there a way that I can, get the knowledge that I need for this thing that I want to do? So don't just accept. There are many different suggestions that come during the day, during your lifetime. It's not every suggestion that comes to your mind that you accept. Sit with it and ask yourself, hi Grace, please, I'm interested in knowing some of the reasons why you were selected. That's true. Okay, so since this is a question, I will definitely find out why. It will be interesting to hear why I was selected. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to, have you completed your train of thoughts? I just want to make sure that.
So, yeah, I just wanted to say, ask questions. I do a lot of sitting with myself and introspecting. I do it a lot, and it's something we need to learn to do. Let's not get too busy with the world and what's happening in life that you forget that you are the most valuable part of this equation. Here.
Thank you, Grace. And then finally, what's inspired you to write the books, the amazing books that you have written? You have 3 books that are published that you've shared with us. What inspired you to write those books?
I would say what inspired me, I would say the need for the value that I bring to the world. And I say it so nicely as if, I've always known that I bring value to the world. But the truth is, there were times I questioned myself, who even wants to listen to you? Do you think you qualify? So I feel like many people go through those processes of so you tell yourself things like, everybody's doing it, everybody's producing content, no, not everybody. And even if everybody's doing it, you have a uniqueness that you bring that no other person in the world brings. The combination of who you are, the skills, the experiences, and everything, no other person has it. The world is waiting for your unique voice and your unique perspective to everything. That's why, so the first one, Dear Teacher, is a compilation of the things that I think about, the challenges that I have faced before coming to embrace the realities of what I want to do in life. So that one is a free ebook. You can get it on my bio. The other one, Beautiful Scars, my sister died in August of 2019, and a few days after, so this particular book, it was so instructive. It was instructive. I cannot even say I wanted to help people. What's my business? As in me, that I was dealing with a lot of grief and pain.
Yeah.
But it was very, very clear. With the same comfort that you have received, comfort others. And at that time, I was upset. I'm just like, what comfort? I'm not even sure that I'm going to heal from this. How do you say with the same comfort I have received? But okay, I don't know what it's like to carry a baby, but it's like you have something there that just needs to come out for the world. There were times I questioned it. There were times I'm just like, I don't think I'm ready to do this. I haven't healed enough. I haven't this. I haven't that. This and that. But it was like birth pangs. It's like you either push out this baby or you push out this baby. So that's how Beautiful Scars came about. It's my own experience and the experiences of a few other people of how to navigate. And it's really just sharing my story. So why your story is also unique, SAGENEL, is because it's your story. I'm not telling you this is how to fly to the moon. I'm telling you this is how I flew to the moon. Do you understand?
Exactly.
I'm not telling you this is how to be the best teacher in the world. This is how I have succeeded in becoming a profitable teacher whose voice is relevant in the grand scheme of things. So that's why the value you have is the value you have that only you can bring. Because you're just helping people get from point A to point B the way that you have. I'm sharing my story with you. And in sharing my story, I realized that we're similar in a lot of ways. I realized that the things that helped me can also help you. Colors of Hope is saying, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because you're with me. And because you're with me, you bring out all the colors. And all that the enemy meant for evil, you turn it out, you work it out for my good. So it all ends in hope. There is hope that one day the trumpet will sound and the dead in Christ shall rise first. And we that are here we will be caught up and we will join them in the air. So it ends in hope. You know, I journal a lot. So Colors of Hope is that journal that gives you, there are journaling prompts that you can, so if you're not a journaling person like me and you need prompts to just help you figure out how to get started and all of that, it gives you prompts to write. There are coloring pages. I'm such a child at heart, you know, so I just bring in all of these elements that God has used to help me through my process, to process my thoughts, to process just everything. And that's really what it's about. The plans, there are other things that are in the cooler that are waiting to come out. Cause of Hope is saying there's hope. You've experienced loss of a job, there's hope. Loss of a spouse, loss of a dream, loss of a relationship,
Lots of
many things that we lose. Loss of a
people lose their
child, loss of health, loss of many things, loss of hope. Colors of Hope is saying that there's hope for you. And hope sometimes comes in shades of gray, shades of blue, green, black, and all of that. So there's so much more coming from this. Someone asked where you can get the books. Link in my bio. I have to put up the link now. Yeah, link in my bio. And then the Amazon version is going to be out soon. June. Yes, it's going to be out soon. Yeah.
So that's Grace_Amoka, the link in our bio. If you're a bit confused, you can just always send that a DM if you're listening to this. But
send me a DM. That's another place that I have rich conversations. Like, I really have great conversations with people in this community. So please just send me a DM and we can get to the person.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to your rapid fire question. We've come to the end and we're winding down. You can't, so the rule is you cannot spend up to 20 seconds, between 20 to 30 seconds. You can't spend more than 30 seconds answering these questions. So we just want to get to know a bit about you. So I'll get right into it. Number one, what's your favorite color?
In this season, mustard yellow.
I had to laugh. Grace, you're the first guest that brought color in this season. Okay, let's just go ahead. Oh, so maybe I'm even wearing, I'm wearing your favorite color. I happen to be wearing it. Okay, interesting. What is your favorite food?
I like a lot of foods. I would say pounded yam. Pounded yam has stood the test of time through the years.
Okay. What are you allergic to?
I'm a Nigerian girl. Nothing allergy, no, they come near me.
Okay, what is your best movie?
Best movie. I would say Three Idiots.
Okay, all right. Your best book?
Oh my goodness. My best book has to be the Bible. It has to be the Bible.
Were you given birth to in Nigeria? Were you born in Nigeria?
Born, bred, watered in Nigeria, Kaduna State, in Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital. Someone said my best food is Gary. Oh my goodness, my friends have come to expose me. I actually love it. So let me tell you, fun fact is I eat Gary every single day of my life. But let me help you understand what that means. It means I eat cassava flakes. So I don't soak it in water. Like I eat Gary in a container, like dry Gary. Do you understand?
Okay, this is interesting.
Every day.
So does it do something for you, or like it's just your snack? Like,
I can't, even me myself, I don't know why Gary chose me, but I really love Gary. I love Gary, please. You people should send me a lot of Gary for my next birthday.
Interesting. Okay, all right. So what country would you have liked to be born into, apart from Nigeria?
Apart from Nigeria, I haven't been to many countries, though, to be honest. I think Nigeria. I don't have all those fantasies of, even this one I'm here, honestly, I wasn't part of the people that wanted to Japa, and disclaimer, I did not Japa. I did not Japa. So Nigeria, really, I love my country, guys.
Oh, Grace, you literally brought comedy into this interview. I'm trying to hold myself. You're just making me laugh. Okay, the next question is gold or silver?
Silver.
Black or white?
White.
Yellow or pink?
Yellow, definitely.
What is one favorite attire for you to wear?
An Ankara top and any other thing, or an Ankara kimono. Ankara.
All right. What is your favorite thing to do?
Right.
What do you like to do for fun?
I love anything that would make me spend time with family and friends. So usually whatever activity it is, just talking and spending time together.
Small chops or jollof rice?
Small chops. So small chops.
Or vegetables?
Fruits.
Yes. Or vegetables?
I'll say
okay. You are saying fruits. Okay.
Yeah.
So would you rather take the train or a ship?
A ship where? Ship on top water. No, please. Let's not be doing this kind of look. I'm doing the train.
All right. So train. A bus or an airplane?
An airplane.
Writing or speaking? Let's see.
That's such a good one. I would say, wow. I would say writing. I would say writing.
Okay.
Yes, I would say writing.
All right. Rain or sunshine?
Sunshine.
Okay. Audio or visual? This applies to how you like to learn. How you like to learn. Audio or visual?
Definitely visual. Okay.
A day at the beach or a day in one of your favorite restaurants?
Definitely one of my favorite restaurants.
Okay. Can you get married to someone outside of Nigeria that is a non-Nigerian citizen?
Do you know, I've had this question since I came here. I've had this question too many times and I can count. Then I would say, yes. They would ask me, oh, can you marry a non-Nigerian? And I would say, yes, I can.
Okay.
By the time they don't ask a non-black person, so a non-African, that's when I start to think. I'm just like, I cannot categorically tell you. At this point, I don't know. I don't knew it.
Thank you. But in case he's watching, still slide into Grace's DM regardless. Don't worry. She can go through the process. And then, not fun. If you had a magical wand and you want to change one thing in Nigeria, what is that one thing going to be? If you had to change just one thing.
Magical wand, I would change the entire education system. And when I say change the entire education system, it would be from education at home, grassroots level, to education, like national education. You get? So that's a lot of things. It encompasses, I think it seeps through every other sector. Education in the media, education, our education system.
All right. And then finally, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered as the humble girl who shared the love of God in as many ways as she could to as many people as she encountered.
Thank you so much, Grace. This has been a very productive session. It will be on YouTube. It will continue to be here for generations so that they can continue to learn and birth from the things that you have shared. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you to everybody who watched. And if for those who are interested, well, I prefer to watch things on YouTube personally. You can get this replay soon. It will be uploaded soon on SAGENEL TV. SAGENEL TV, SAGENEL TV on YouTube. Don't forget to send Grace a DM for all of our resources and everything in between. Thank you for it.
Thank you.